Hello guys, can you hear me? Can you see me? All right, cool. So today's it's going to be a little bit different format because now it's a paid class, right? So it's not like a webinar anymore. It's more like how should I say, like a conversation. So basically, you can unmute yourself any second. There is no restriction. If you can ask, if you want to ask any questions, yeah, you can not necessarily. You can type in chat. You can just speak up if you want to. So okay, let's get started. So today, hopefully, you guys did your homework and prepared all the test cases. So today we're gonna go through those test cases, and we will actually see the use of it. So let's starting. What is this? Let's start with agenda. So yeah, we're gonna talk about cross-browser testing, Chrome Mobile View, cloud testing solutions, and we'll practice Smoke to run it and see the report and questions and answers. Okay, so hold on. Who drew this? Yeah, thank you. Could you guys remove that one, please? Where is that? Yeah, thank you. And those two things as well, please. Okay, anyways. Azad, do you know how to remove the drawing, this annotation?
Trying right now.
Oh, hold on, clear probably. Okay, got it, gotcha. All right, so first of all, how you can test on mobile devices? Of course, using real devices, right? You guys all have your phones. I don't know which ones exactly, but of course, we have like tons of them available on the market. You can be brand new, can be an older model, can be Android, iOS, and so on. The problem here is that if you want to test on a particular device, it's pretty much impossible because, I mean, come on, how many of those devices do you have? Like 1, 2, probably not more than that, right? So in companies, they usually have special, sometimes it's like a room, or sometimes it's a designated place. It's like on a wall, there is like a stand with different devices. So in one of my companies where I worked, there was like around 30 or 40 different devices, like the real ones. They all on the same kind of wall, connected to chargers, so they always on and ready to go. But it's pricey, right? It's pricey. There is some maintenance. You can sometimes we messed up one of the devices by updating. There was a pop-up and we were doing something and someone clicked that pop-up saying like yes, and that updated the device to the latest version, but we really needed to test on the previous version. So basically that device, you cannot roll back to previous version, for example, if it's iOS, right? So yeah, that's a drawback. Another option is to use simulators or emulators. And we're gonna talk about those things. And there's a video in a home, in a LMS. So like 8 minutes long, but you can see like how you can install that. And including Chrome Web View, which one I will demonstrate you shortly. And there is actually a special cloud services. So you can just create your account there, and using your basically computer through the browser, you can navigate to those websites and just pick the device that you need, or pick like operating system, or pick the version. I believe they have like around 900 or something around like 1,000 different combinations of like operating system version and so on. So that one is pretty cool. And in fact, you can create your free account over there and play around. And there is a video actually in LMS for today for you for homework. Okay, so let's actually, let me show you the mobile view in Chrome browser. So Chrome browser is the most popular browser. And the interesting thing, so for example, I'm gonna navigate to our application under the test. So as you can see here, I'm using just a Chrome and it's Windows 10, right? So how can I kind of make it as a mobile view? Because if you open it on a mobile device, it's not gonna look exactly the same. It's gonna be different actually. So what you can do, you can right click and then pick the last one, inspect. You can do it anywhere really. So once you do so, there is a bar. In my case, it's on the right side. It can be anywhere, but it doesn't matter. So there is a button, you see, toggle device toolbar. Control-Shift-M is a shortcut. So you can click on it, and you see now how it's different. So it's unfortunately it's set to responsive over here. So I'm gonna pick the actual some device. So for example, I can select iPhone X. That's actually my phone that I have personally. But you see there is some options, and automatically it changes the size of the screen. So you see this is basically how would you see this application on the iPhone 10. So I'm gonna refresh the page just in case. And this is how it should be displayed on the phone. And I'm logged out, so this is what should I see. So of course you can just click different elements. You can swipe, you see I'm swiping like up and down. You can click and so on. And you see how different it is now. Oh, actually I'm logged in. And if I change something to, let's say, iPhone 5, you see the screen got smaller. So it's much smaller actually now, which is kind of cool. You can switch the screens on the fly. There is another one. So if you don't want to kind of emulate the actual device, there is like a bar on top of it. So you see mobile S320 pixels, it says. So there is a couple of different one, like mobile, this is small, mobile, like medium size, like a t-shirt sizes, right? Mobile large. And then the next one will give you a tablet. And it's tablet kind of vertical view, right? And then if you go to the next one, you see it's laptop. So this is very tiny laptop with the 1024 width pixels. So it's a little bit not that wide. And then you can just keep going because there's the same thing for laptop. Laptop and laptop large, which is basically, oh, there is actually 4K here. All right, so you can really like select anything. And there is an iPad as well here, so you can just select iPad like this. You can actually flip, you see rotate, so now it's horizontal. But this is very cheap way of testing on mobile device, kind of simulating mobile devices even without having the actual mobile device. And for me, I would rather do it on the computer than on the phone, because it's kind of, it takes a little longer on the phone, I think, because here I have all the passwords saved and everything, but it's not the same. It's not exactly as it is on the phone. So it simulates, and most of the times it's pretty much the same that you would see on your phone, but not always. So be careful. It's cheap and it's dirty, right? But if you use your phone, you can identify more issues, and on different phones, you can actually see different issues. Okay, so let's keep going. And it's actually not for Chrome. Most of those browsers, they have the same. So Internet Explorer, Firefox, I can demonstrate that real quick. So for example, if I go test Quidos in Firefox, okay, now you see it's the same kind of, but then if I do inspect element, the same kind of button, you see now it's on the bottom of the page. And here it's, where is that? Sorry, I think my bar is blocking the view. So it's on the right side. You see this devices responsive design mode. So, and it's kind of same. So now we have this responsive. We can pick some devices. The same thing, we can change the, flip the screen. We can do some other ones. We can simulate like the network, which is kind of nice. You can simulate like GPRS, which is, or even 2G, to see how your application, how slow it is gonna be if I do it like this. You see, you can kind of, I mean, it's not that bad actually, but you can definitely see elements are being loaded from the internet. So basically all of the browsers, they have these things for you. So I'm not gonna spend any more time on that, but it's a very cool thing. And it's actually something that shows that modern browsers, it's not only for you to clicking on elements, they have a lot of things built in. So today we just touched one feature, which is called mobile view in Chrome, but there is more to come, and we're gonna cover some of them a little bit later throughout this course. So the question, which browser should you use really? Because we have some of them, and this list, of course, is not full. We have like Opera, we have Vivaldi, we have, what was the other ones, like Maxton, and some other ones. Edge is actually not listed in here. I believe Dolphin for mobile devices, and many, many other ones. So any guys' idea, which one would you test? So for example, for Quidos app, the one that we're testing, which application which browser do you think is the most important, or is which one you would start testing in? You guys want to speak up? No?
I would say that would be Google Chrome if we're going by which one to start out with.
Okay, why is that?
That would probably be the most, the one that everyone uses, like the kind of basic one.
Okay, but what do you think you need to test in like the most popular browser?
Oh, most popular. I mean, I would still say it's Google Chrome for most popular.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And the answer is not like the most popular or like whatever you like the most. It should be the one that your customers use. And in reality, sometimes it's not what you think actually. So, so here's the market share of the browsers right now. Well, maybe it's a bit outdated, September 19, but you can see trends here, right? So Chrome browser got like what, around 65, 70% of market, which makes it, this browser is the most popular one without any doubt, right? And Firefox, you can see it's losing its position, and Safari, I think it's growing a little bit, but kind of not too much. IE definitely goes away. Edge becomes a little bit more popular, but still, and Opera has, I believe, 2% or something. So yeah, this is how it looks like in general. If you take to consideration kind of the whole internet, but there is a catch here, because the most popular really doesn't mean anything in this case. So from my experience, there are actually two segments of browsers. So the one that we saw, it's really kind of popularity for kind of throughout the whole world. And I would say like any person, like 70% of people of the planet Earth actually use Chrome. It became very popular. But there is another world actually, and it's world of corporations, like big, large businesses. Not always Chrome is a browser of their choice. So you should always ask your product owner or your team, like, hey guys, what's the most popular browser for us? And sometimes they have this email lists. They will say, the company will say, will send you a list of basically of your users browsers popularity. So in my previous company, for example, because I worked for United States Federal Bureau of Census, and it's a federal organization, right? It's a government. So Chrome was actually kind of illegal to use for census. So their choice was actually, well, it's actually Edge, but it was Internet Explorer at that moment. And because I worked for a company who does business with another companies, with large businesses mostly, for us, Internet Explorer had around 70% of market share. So despite on the fact that Chrome is so popular, Internet Explorer would be actually the browser of our choice, #1 browser. And then Chrome. But for example, in Census, they use Firefox instead of Chrome because Chrome is illegal. They cannot even install it on their computer. So it's banned really. So after Internet Explorer, the second browser would be actually Firefox for us because it was for Federal Bureau. So anyways, you would never guess that unless you ask your team, right? So don't wait, or ask your doctor. So, but the thing here is you physically just cannot test you on all the browsers, because imagine how many browsers we have. Then we have different versions. So for example, if right now Chrome is version 69, are you gonna do like Chrome 68, 67, 66, 65, and so on? You will end up like retesting everything like 50 times. So that's why it's very important, because we always have the time is always limited. So we should be thinking about like how to prioritize everything that we do, and do the most important first. All right, there is another one, and it's emulators and simulators. So you can see there is, like, if you want to kind of get little closer results to actual device without having that device, you can install special software on your computer. And some of them are free, some of them not. But for Android, for example, if you just Google for Android emulators, you can find a lot of resources. So this one from Android Authority, it's like 15 best emulators in 2020. So there is Android Studio. I would say this is should be your first choice. If you work with mobile devices, it's free, but it's actually software for developers. So that's how Android developers build mobile application for Androids. And that software is pretty heavy. There is a lot of things in there. So it's a bit overcomplicated. If you never worked with that, you can just get lost. But yes, it has emulators and simulators, everything built in. And then another one is Genymotion. They have paid subscription, but I believe you can use it for free as well. It's more like lightweight emulator, and you will actually see a screen of the Android. Like you see on this, on the image on the left, there is a laptop, and it's actually Android Studio on the picture. And there is a picture of a phone, and you can do like whatever, navigate to a website. You can actually deploy your application if it's mobile application, and play around and tweak some things. You can set like GPS, for example, even though if you're located like myself in Los Angeles, through this software, through the simulator, you can simulate that. You can say that I'm in Chicago right now. And I never told you that, but you can mess up with some applications sometimes using that thing. And sometimes even illegal stuff can be performed, but I've never told you anything about that. Okay, another one is iOS, pretty similar to Android. The same thing, you can download simulators, and the most popular would be Xcode, but that one, it's again, it's for developers. That's how iOS developers build native applications. And again, the same thing, it's pretty heavy. It has a lot of things. You can write code. You can build applications, so it's actually paid. So you have to have a subscription for that. But there is some other ones available on the market, so you can, if you're curious to see how it works, just pick something more simple than Xcode and play around with that. And the cloud services. So we have well, these are the most popular ones. There are more. So Sauce Labs and Browser Stack, these are the most popular cloud services that will basically do so the way it works, and if you watch the video on YouTube, it will get you an idea, because I'm going through like the whole Sauce Labs app and showing how you can pick the device, how you can use it and everything. But in short, it actually allows you spin up that emulator, but through the internet. So you just use it in your browser, and they have a lot of options, and these are premium services, and they are actually pretty pricey. The cool thing about these services, you can not only use emulators, but you can actually use real devices connected through internet. So it's like real device that actually located somewhere. You can actually pick location of the device as well. And that's why it's much more expensive. I believe it starts from like $120 per month or something, and it can become very expensive. So in one of the companies that we hosted a meetup, they use like 100 emulators from browser stack simultaneously, and that plan costs about, like ballpark, something like $13,000 per month. Well, probably it's worth for them, but in companies, they usually, I would say it's rare. They usually they don't want to pay that much of money, so it's not that common in companies, I would say. But it's still quite popular. Okay, so what's cross-browser testing? It's basically, it is what it is. Like you can test your application in different browsers, and if it has user interface, like all web applications, for example, they all have user interface built for users, right? For customers, like for people like we are. So we click on the buttons and everything. So basically any of those you can test on different devices using these 3 different types of cross-browser testing. You can also test it for mobile, but we're not going to be doing this in this course, but it's pretty much similar. And yeah, you will find actually a lot of issues if you just try to use your application on those different devices. You will definitely find those issues that, for example, only applies to IE or Safari, but Firefox and Chrome work fine. There are a ton of them. So it's normal, and it's better to get prepared for that. Okay, let's actually practice and execute smoke all together. So guys, who did the homework and wrote all 10 test cases? Anyone? All right, 9 test cases? 8? I did
Yeah,
only 8.
I was
Okay.
gonna say I only did about 7 or 8, but that's because when we were in class, we did the first two together, if I'm
Uh-huh.
correct.
Oh, so you did the rest of them. So it's like 10 total, or only 8 total. So you did 6 on your own.
From what I thought we were supposed to do 8 of them because we did the first two with you in class.
Okay. All right, Malika, what you did 40? You're joking, right? It's 4? Okay. Like what? That's next class actually. So yeah. Okay, cool. So who wants me to take a look at what they did? Anyone? I'll try to be nice, I promise. Okay, so I will pick a volunteer then. Hold on. So let's go to our project. I'm gonna refresh the page just in case, and I can apply these filters here. Still, sorry, give me a second, guys. It's blocking my um, so I'm just gonna do this quick filter. Oh no, sorry, it's not a bug. Of course, it should be test type of test. So I'm only looking at I'm kind of ignoring, disregarding the defects. Oh, of course, I need to add the project here. Project equal to first project, like this. So we're not looking at all of them. It's just too many. Okay, so I see not that many actually. But anyways, okay, let's take a look at the first one. So just to refresh my mind, I'm gonna go to LMS. Do you guys have access to the third class now? Guys, please check, and if it's all good, then we're good. If you have some issues, then just ping me. Sorry, it's the wrong one. So now you should see this one here, third live class, and the slides are already there, and there is a Zoom link for if you were curious about the Zoom link. So it's all gonna be in LMS from now on. This is our kind of source of truth and where we study and keep our results and everything. So yeah, here's the link for Zoom, and video will be uploaded here. So yeah, just check that you have the access, and the same thing, just go one by one through the homework. All right, so I'm gonna switch, okay, cool. I'm gonna switch to the, where is that? Right, Smoke Suite. So for convenience, I updated this lesson. So now we have a list of test cases for smoke. So consumer was the first one. So we need to log in as a contractor. Okay, I'm curious about that one. So let's see. Okay, here we go. Done by Evgenia. And let's see what's in there. So of course it's test, and the steps: fill out the form with valid data and create an account. First time user navigates to create contractor's account page. Okay, I think that one is good. Step: fill out form with valid data and create an account. Well, okay. So guys, do you think it's what do you think about this one? I don't want to be that rude guy. Any comments on this? Who wants to speak up, guys? All good? Yes, Jane. Okay, being a tester, it's all about details, right? And okay, let me show you something here. So you see number 4, right? Login as a contractor, right? Login. And let's see what it is here. Actually, in title, it says login, but in a test step, it actually says create account. And here it says create account. It makes sense? No? Are you guys getting the point? Let's see if we have another one here. Okay, what about this one? From Lyubov. So precondition, existing user navigates to sign in page. Okay. Fill out the sign in form with valid data and click sign in. This is a URL of the page for convenience. User successfully signed in his account and user is redirected to home page. Okay, yeah, I would say this one is short and to the point. That's exactly how it should look like. The only thing here for convenience, again, I cannot say it's like wrong for right now because I never mentioned that to you. But sometimes in test data, you also want to include your login credentials because once you once you start execution of this test, for example, if I'm executing this test, maybe I don't have this account, right? Or maybe my account is like messed up, or it's in a, oh, I had mentioned that. Okay, cool, thank you. So here you can say like username, let's say I'm just like throwing some idea, right? Like username at like gmail.com and like some password 123, for example, like this, right? Make sense? So it's kind of nice to provide, but again, I'm not gonna kind of judge you for that. I think for this, in this particular case, it's okay. And in my previous company, we never did this actually because again, we had our own set of different users, which are all were saved in the browser password manager. So it's actually faster that way, right? Hopefully it makes sense. So okay, that one is a little bit incorrect, right? The other one is okay. What else? This one, right? From Matthew. Users offer must be, oh, sorry, it's a sign a contract. It's the wrong one. Create account, register provider account. I think it's actually the same issue here. For provider, we kind of agreed on just logging in. Contractors should log in and consumers should create a new account, right? So we kind of testing both creation in creation and login. We kind of cover both. You can ask me like, what about logout? I mean, who cares about logout? Nobody really logs out, right? I never log out from anywhere. It just, you just close the browser and that's it. So I wouldn't even include that in Smoke, but again, questionable. It's not a big of a deal. Can be included. It's just really one click of a button, but I try to kind of keep the focus on the most important stuff. So if you cannot select a bid or accept the job, pretty much your application is useless. If you cannot log out, well, maybe not the kind of the worst thing, but like really it's not that critical, I think, whatever, right? Okay, in case of number 4, wouldn't the users and password be provided? So usually Smoke, it's like a flow, and so it's not like random test cases, but usually there is sometimes they call it like test scenario. when different test cases are kind of attached to each other in a certain logical order. Like in our case, if you noticed this, there is actually a logical flow, right? There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that one is basically, it does like all what this application was built for, basically creating an account, logging in, creating a job, accepting offer, and make a payment. So all the functionality of this application really is covered here, right? Is it clear, guys? Okay, let's see on some other one. Okay. Why this suite of test cases does not include create a project, and it's actually there. It's called create a main record. Just to kind of so if you guys read this document here about the application, the happy path, it's how it actually how it is in this document. I believe exact wording, but can cause some questions. Sorry if you guys have any questions about that, but yeah, basically those test cases are there. Maybe the wording is different. It keeps creating the contractor account, but required making a customer account. Yeah, so again, it's smoke, right? So we want to cover kind of everything, but quickly, like the most important ones, and we are picky here, right? So that's why we're not doing like everything. I kind of try to cut some corners here, really, with like excluding, for example, logout, create like contractor account, and so on. Yes, so we kind of covered everything, but not really everything. So login, for example, only covered for contractor, not for consumer, right? So that's kind of I try to kind of save that for smoke to keep it short. Usually, I would say smoke should be not more than like 10 test cases or so. And if it's more than that, then probably it's not smoke anymore, something else. And we will cover that the next class on Saturday. If it's not smoke, then what? All right. Okay, so let's see on some other one. Let's say maybe this one. Ooh, this one is empty for some reason. So yeah, guys, okay, I'm not looking at empty one. This one is like empty too. Okay. Must be login contractor and stay page offers. And on page offers, on offers page. Okay, step choose an offer. Okay, there is a link for convenience. I would say the second one is not really needed because the problem here at the moment of writing, it can be okay, but some other one of you can actually accept it or like or delete it or whatever. So it can be kind of outdated and broken in like a week or so. So I wouldn't say like, I wouldn't give a link, exact link here. I would just say like bid on any random offer, let's say, right? Or the one that you exactly know. So kind of that. After contractor accepts the job, the customer has to create a project first. After contractor accepts the job, the customer has to create a project first. Oh, I see. Okay, okay. Yeah, probably right. So now I got it. Yeah. Yeah, I cannot hear you, but you need to unmute yourself. So there is a button at the bottom left corner, and it looks like a microphone. And you can unmute yourself by default. You guys all, oh, hold on. you're actually unmuted, but probably you need to configure your mic. So right there where the mic is, there is a like arrow button. You can click on it and you can select the proper microphone. For example, I have 3 of them connected to my computer. So that's why sometimes the wrong one is connected and really nobody can hear you. But anyways, yes, that's a good point. So basically, whatever needs to be on the way for smoke, if we're missing something over there, that could be a point. So yeah, good catch. Okay, what next? Let's do, hold on, that's the wrong one. Let me actually show you how you can execute the smoke suite. And for that, I would recommend you grab some other person's smoke suite so you can really see, because the reason we write the smoke suite is to kind of share it with some other people or maybe with yourself in the future, right? So that's why this piece of documentation needs to be very clear so anyone can understand you. And let's actually see how it goes. So if we go here again to our Jira and you click tests and you go plan test cycle. So assuming we've created all those test cases, I'm gonna actually delete this one. I don't need it. So you will get to this screen here where you can create, it's called test cycle. So we create the smoke so we can run it like every day and sometimes many times a day. So smoke is very, very popular test suite. You're supposed to run it like on a daily basis in the company. Basically every time when developers build a new feature and give you like your application with something new on top of it. And it happens like every day really. Okay, so what you need to do is just to click this create cycle button and then give it a name here. So I'm just gonna call it after myself, which is kind of weird. You usually don't do that, but for convenience kind of sake, I'm gonna do that. That's it. So you just give it a name. Yeah, it has some more fields here like build, environment, and so on, dates. I'm not gonna touch anything. So just do that. You see it appeared in the list here. So now, but it's empty. So if I go here, you see there is nothing really here. So now what you need to do is to add tests here. And I'm just gonna do one by one. So for example, I'm not gonna do the whole thing probably, but I'm just gonna grab a couple of test cases. Maybe, actually, I was wrong. I shouldn't have closed those, that page. So let me do it one more time. Like this one, and project FP and type equal to test. And maybe since you guys told me that who it was, let me grab one of you who did, let's say 8. So Ajmal, I can just search for you here and creator equal to oh, okay, Ajmal. So here we go. And if I search, so these are your test cases, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we have 2 more, which actually I created. Okay, I can actually add myself here as well. Yeah, this one is called Jira Query Language. We're not covering this as a part of this course because it can be challenging. And it's the whole entire beast. It's actually pretty similar to SQL. But yeah, but you can see how I use it. It's pretty simple, but it's actually very powerful. Okay, let's see. So the ones that I created yesterday was this one, 71, 73, and then so I'm gonna add those. So I can just do, I believe 71, you see, 71, 73, and then I'm gonna add a couple of more, which is going to be, I believe it should be by number. Login as a contractor, this one, which is empty. Okay, sounds like I cannot use this. Okay, let me maybe check some other person then. Okay, Matthew, you got it. Just changing it to this. And then, so the number 3 is supposed to be login as a contractor, which is this one. Okay. So for some reason it's empty. Matthew, are you sure you wrote them all? They all empty, so they're like placeholders. Well,
That's actually not mine. It's actually a different reporter on the right.
oh yeah, hold on. Oh, my bad. Yeah, thank you for that. So it should be really just you, right? Sorry. Okay. So login as a contractor, 76 will go first. So, oops, 76. Boom, and then let me move this thing. And then what's the next one? Create a main record, right? Where's my cheat sheet? Login as a contractor, create main record. Okay, 75, then bid 77. 75, then 77. So we basically just create a list of these test cases in a sequence. You can actually search here by just providing a name. Oh, sorry. For example, like this, you see. It's actually will be assigned to you. So it's not complete list, I know, but I think for this practice, it's going to be enough. So it's created by me, but you see, it says unexecuted. So these are like a templates, but every time we execute, we're supposed to report the results back. Does it make sense, guys? You understand what we're doing here? Okay, cool. So now once you created this, you just need to really execute them. And I'm gonna click this E button here. You see execute, or I believe you can, well, you can reorder. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, just click this button to execute it. And let's start 4060. Yeah, so we create this kind of guidelines for ourselves or for anyone else, so we can execute it every time the new feature arrives. We execute the smoke against our application, because every change of application can potentially break everything. And unfortunately, it happens from time to time. So that's why we have the smoke. So we check that the application is not broken after every work that developers done on the project. So this is actual execution, what we wrote before. So you see here we have, so this is FP71 now, and we can execute it. So now you basically do what it says. Like first time user navigates to home page. Okay, here's the link. And I'm just opening this up. Let me check, because I'm actually logged in, so it's not how you should do. So I'm gonna do, so to make sure it's first time user, right? Because it's important here. I'm gonna copy the address and I'm gonna create an incognito window like this. Why? Because that kind of guarantees that I'm logged out. It's a brand new, like the user that never been on this site ever. So, okay, I navigated there. Banners are displayed on top of the page. Okay, that's something that I need to check now. You see, this is like my checkpoint, like a checklist. Banners are displayed on top of the page. Okay, guys, are banners displayed on top of the page or not? Yes, they are definitely displayed. Okay, so we're going back here. We say, okay, this one passed. Comment, we don't write it usually. If it's passing, then it's fine. Yeah, you can use shortcuts for clearing memory and cache and everything. Usually kind of, because I use Chrome for myself, I did a couple of times. I deleted like everything from the browser, and that kind of throws me off. So that's why I'm just using incognito window. But yeah, you can do that as well. And it's actually important to run smoke in a brand new browser, either incognito every time or with a clearing cache, because sometimes they can be pre-cached on your computer. So even though developers will tell you that, yeah, it's a new version of application, if you just navigate there, it's the same for you. Why? Because it's pre-cached in your browser on your computer. So you will not see sometimes the newer version. So for example, if they change some color of the button, of a button, and they say like, yeah, it's now, you can check if it's changed or not. You will go there and it's still the same color, and you like refreshing page, like clicking around, it's still the same. So all that you need to do is really clear the cache. Okay, anyways, so this is, we did the first one, so let's do the second one. Sidebar with main menu should be displayed on the left side. Is it displayed, guys, on the left side? Yeah, definitely it's displayed, so I'm just gonna mark it as pass as well. Register as service, consumer should be displayed in the middle. I would say we should add that button should be displayed, right? Because we mean this two things, and here it's not really clear that we're looking for buttons, but I would say like, I will update that test case later on, but for now, both displayed, right? So I'm gonna mark it as pass. Okay, cool. And then a list of jobs should be displayed under register buttons, which is this list. Okay, it's displayed, right? So I'm gonna do pass here as well. And you see, once we finished with all the steps, with all the expected results, so they matching, actual results match expected results. It shows this model saying like, okay, all steps are passed. So do you want to update the whole test case status to pass? And yes, definitely we want to do so. So now you see execution history now is here, and it says that I tested this particular one. This is the dates and everything, and it's passed. So all green, right? All cool. So now we can just use these arrows and we can just go, there is a different views here, which you see in this case, we have a list of test cases on the left here, and on the right panel, it's the actual test case. Or we can use details, then it's like bigger screen with everything. Whatever you choose really doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna switch to the next one, which is logically, it's this FP73. So now we are here, and let's see what's going on here. Fill out the form. Fill out the form with valid data and create an account. How did they get a pass if you have not tested anything? So the first one I did, but it's like just a visual. So now we are actually going to do, it's like more UI test case. So this one is more like functional test case, but we are just reading. We are not, we haven't executed this yet. So that's what we're doing right now. So fill out the form with valid data and create an account. So what do you guys think? So we are here. Fill out the form. Which form? I don't see any form, right? Make sense? No? Guys, no link to the form and no form shown. Yes, exactly. So before we say so, we need to make sure that, because I don't even know like which form are you kind of asking me to fill out, right? So that's why it's important to define preconditions or just write those steps so they clear. Because here, the first test case, we're on the home page, and once we switch to this one, there is no any form. So I would say you should update it and add some preconditions. So if you're on this page, you need to do what? Yeah, yeah, thank you. I made this. Let's improve it. So what should we add here? That's why we're executing. So we will, it will really highlight all the issues that we've done. So what do you guys think is missing here? There's no form, right? Yeah, open form, exactly. So the first step here should be click create and which one, customer account. So the first one or precondition should be like this. Click on create customer account button, right? This one. Hold on. Register as a service consumer, actually. So once you click that one, the screen should be displayed, and this is actually a different page. So register as a consumer page is displayed, right? And then here now, this is the second step. Fill out the form with valid data and create an account. Okay, so I'm gonna do something, whatever. I'm gonna use some other alias. Test 1, 2, 3. Oh, should be like this. And create an account, right? Oh, sorry. That one exists already. Okay, create an account. Congratulations message should be shown, which is that one. So we, of course, can do the pass now. What else? User should be redirected to login page. It's indeed a login page, right? Pass and welcome email should be received. Okay. Let me check my mailbox. I don't see any emails as for now. So probably it's got delayed a little bit. And it happens sometimes. Unfortunately, there is nothing we can do about it, really. It is just what it is. So let me refresh maybe. But what do you guys think? What should happen if, let's say, I don't receive that email? Which I really don't see any emails right now. What? Aha. So It could be a bug, exactly. And I really don't know. It can be a real bug, like no joke, it happens. Of course, yeah, we should check like spam folder and all everything else. And wait maybe a little bit. Let me check that real quick. But let's say you waited for like, I don't know, 20 minutes and you still don't see it. Well, even though I actually received that email, I can see it in my mailbox. But let's assume I've never received that email. What should we do? What do you guys think? Yeah, yeah. Just to play safe, I would check one more time, because sometimes there's some hiccups, or like, you know, it's system. It doesn't really work like 100% all the time. So I would actually create another one, maybe using different email provider, as Sean suggested. Yeah, it's a good idea. I like that one. But let's say I did it for a second time and nothing really. I don't see that registration email. So as Purvi said, yes, we should create a defect in that case. So let's say these two passed and the third one is actually failed, right? So what we can do here, we can set it to fail. And there is a button right here. You see 0 defects. We can actually create a defect. Yeah, no, I received an email, but I'm kind of messing around here, showing you the the other scenario, because positive is simple, negative, something is broken. How would you handle that? So let's create a defect. You click it and you see it creates a defect here. For some reason it's story, we need to change it to bug. And then we're supposed to write this defect here. So what do you guys think what the summary should be for this one? Test, no guys, please give me some meaningful summary. You guys know how to write defects, don't you? Okay, registration email failed to send. Confirmation email not accepted. Not received probably. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I would say not just like confirmation, but maybe registration. Or what we can do here is really just look up what this test case is about, right? Because really, I can just, you see, welcome email should be received. You see, this is the expected result. We can just turn things around a little bit. I'm sorry. And just create a defect out of it. Basically, whatever was expected result, we're just doing the opposite now, right? Welcome email should be received. We can just say welcome email is not failed to send, not received, is not received, let's say, or is not being sent, maybe. All right, something like this. Now it's kind of clear that it's welcome, right? And welcome means registration, really. We can say like registration email. But sometimes you can just grab that expected result basically and use it as it is. So registration email is not being sent. What's the preconditions for this one, guys? Mm-hmm. Yeah, what we should do before the test. What do you guys think we should do before the test? Yeah, basically, you see, we're creating a defect based off the test case, right? So technically speaking, this test case, original test case, and defect are pretty much the same things, really. So you can really reuse like all the steps that are in a test case. So for example, and I know we're missing that, unfortunately, but the first test step should really be actually precondition, maybe like prerequisites, right? So first time user should be on create consumer page like this, right? Something like this, right? And then steps, we're gonna just write them just right there. So steps, basically it's a test step, right? The same ones that we have in a test case. So user should be on create a consumer page. What should we do? Fill out the form with valid data. Basically create an account, right? And create an account. I literally reading it from here, guys. You see? I'm kind of cheating a little bit because it's technically speaking, it's the same thing. So this bug is that test case with the exception of the steps that failed. So watch this. Once we do that, what would be my expected result? Yeah, for this particular case, we really don't care about like the rest of the steps because they kind of pass, right? So we can just kind of say that account is created, but email is not received, right? And oh, sorry, that's not expected. It's actual result. So so expected account is created and email is received, right? But actual result, it is created, but email is not received. When it comes to screenshot, it's kind of, because email is not your application, right? So kind of doesn't make sense in this case to capture a screenshot of the failure, because why? What, you would like capture a screenshot of your email box? So I would say like no. You can definitely set it to highest. Yeah, exactly. Hard to take a screenshot of nothing because yeah, like what, empty mailbox or what? So yeah, in this case, don't capture screenshot, but this is your bug now. And you see it says linked issue and it blocks. And then you can provide the name of this. So you can really map them together, your defect and your test case. So you say that this bug blocks this test case. You cannot really execute unless it's fixed, right? So it's highest priority. Well, email, maybe not, but then sometimes you get this like password in your email, or link to create a password in your email, so you're not logged in even. In our case, I think we're actually logged in, would be logged in that case, but it depends. So could be like highest, or could be like something, let's say medium or whatever, something else based on the outcome. But for now, whatever it is, I'm just gonna create it, and that's it. So now once you do them all together, well, this one is now should be really failed, right? Or like, well, failed because of the bug. So now if you do like the rest of them, I'm not gonna do all of them just because of we don't have that much of time. But just gonna click through real quick, and I can do pass from the test case itself, even without touching anywhere. Like this, you see, and that's it. We done this test run. We can see the results here, you see. So these are the results, total executions, not tracked. You see, we can log our time actually against it, but not gonna do anything else for now. Again, it's kind of nice that you can log your time, so you know exactly how long does it take, and next time you can plan your effort accordingly. It's a different view. You can edit it. You can add this name. All right, so we have a couple of questions. Can you give information where I can see technical speaking? Malik, I'm not sure what you mean. If you could rephrase it a little bit. Yeah, I believe what you do here is really, you can edit cycle, and then, where is that? Is it here? Oh no, it's like when do you do so? Yeah, actually, where is that? I don't see that thing either. Okay, anyways. Yeah, so, and then once you do this, what was the test case that failed? So if you open that one, you will see this test case, and you will see now the execution history, you see? It's here, and then you see there is the mapping. So issue is blocked by this, right? We usually give some recommendation on priority, but that's why we need the bug triage. So usually it's been, it's going to be revisited anyways, and can be promoted or demoted to lower priority. So I wouldn't say that it's like that's like critical for us, but with practice and with the when you work for a company, with practice, you will start figuring out like what will it be. But again, it's not going to be like 100% accurate all the time, which is okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
You can hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Like, can you explain in general how this works, like at work? Like, do you write test cases and execute at the same time, or like, or do you always have, or do you write them from requirements? Like, just in general, how, like, with your experience, how it was Like, or do you write test cases even before? Can you write test cases even before the software, like the product is not ready? I just want to understand how this works, like for the.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on your team and company, but usually in the beginning, so when developers take a new feature for development, there is nothing really for you to test. So during that time, you usually read the documentation, and we're going to work on stories by the end of this course. So I'll show you exactly how the process looks like. But usually, yes, you can write those test cases before they are actually delivered. So you kind of save a little bit of time for future. And once developers say like, okay, I'm done, then you can actually execute those test cases and see, well, sometimes they can be really messed up because they can understand, they can read the requirements differently from you. So your test cases can be a little bit off, but you will figure this out once you read and once you talk to developer. For Smoke in particular, usually you write it kind of once in the very beginning because it's the most important test suite. So once you wrote this and you see, it will take you like what, an hour or so, hopefully not more than that. It's pretty quick actually, right? And then you write it, and then you will be running it basically every time developers give you a newer version of the application with some changes in it. And they usually tell you like, okay, I'm done with this, you can test it. And you're like, okay, you do Smoke first, should take you like a couple of minutes, really, like 5 minutes or so. And if it's kind of testable, right, then you can actually do the proper testing of it, like starting with ad hoc like we did on the first class, then reading documentation, trying to figure out how to test it, which we will do later on. If you have your test cases already ready, then you can just execute them. So this is kind of a plan.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So, okay, guys, any other questions on the Smoke execution? Yeah. Okay. So the question is how tester decides which tests are going to be run on which browser. Are they test them in all browsers? Okay. So there was a slide for that, right? Which one was that? This one. Don't test them all. Yeah, it's not possible for you to really test it all. So usually for Smoke, you would just pick the most popular browser. In our case, since we kind of targeting regular people, homeowners, and like you and me, then I would say it should be Chrome. I believe actually there is, yeah, you see browsers, they say, yes, it's recording. So it says we support all major browsers, and they actually, so this is the CTO of the application. So Guy wrote this guides for us. So they say they do know there is a difference between desktop and mobile, basically what we covered today. And they say that it's great exercise for testing too. So they know there is something off when it comes to different platforms. So that's kind of what we're gonna focus on today. For Smoke, again, as I mentioned, you usually grab the most popular browser, and that's it. It's only one run. But for regression, which we never touched yet, we're gonna cover that next class. We will be testing it on different devices. But for now, just to mess around a little bit and apply this new knowledge of the cross-platform testing. So here's the homework. So go to LMS and of course just do the next batch of lessons. Let me show you. So now you should be able to see this smoke test execution. So starting from third live class, which is we on right now, just go all the way down. And the homework here is gonna be this. So as I showed you, create a cycle in Zephyr, add smoke tests in it. And ideally, if you guys can, so I would really like to show you how confusing can it be. So it's really important to write these test cases in a proper way, so it's clear, even though the one that I created is actually not that good, right? Because there was a step missing here, and it makes this test case really useless right away. So what I would recommend, you just grab someone else test cases, like all 8, so it should be like 10 in total, and try to run them and see how it goes. There, for smoke, I think there is a low chance of finding like the issues, functionality ones, but at least you will play around a little bit with different platforms and you will learn how different they are. So I know someone noticed that if it's tablet mode, that sidebar is actually on the right side, right? Is that what it is? It's here, it's actually on the left. But definitely if you switch to like mobile, there is no sidebar at all, right? So sidebar is behind this hamburger menu. And I believe there is some issues with banners. No, okay. No, banners are okay. The side menu is on the right, yeah, but you have to click the hamburger menu first in order to see it. So you see how not ideal our test cases are. So it takes a little bit of practice to really start writing nice test cases, and not just practice, but execution. So if you try to execute one of your tests or one of some other person test, you will definitely find some gray areas, some issues, some even bugs sometimes, right? So I think it's a good practice just to get the understanding why we need this. Okay, so execute smoke test on random mobile device or simulator. So if you wanna do something kind of go above and beyond, you can create your account on, let's say, Sauce Labs, or you can download some simulator. For example, if you are using iOS, if you have iOS phone, you can use that one, or you can download like Genymotion or any other software and try to run this test case on that platform in that simulator. So you get some taste of it. And if you find any defects, you guys now know how to report them, right? So if you find something, please report. But make sure that because it's a smoke, we are not reporting like if you see some like spelling mistake or maybe some buttons are kind of misaligned or something like that. Like maybe like a button overlaps the text, this one or something like that. It's really like not the scope of the smoke execution right now. Smoke, we really just want to make sure that it works, just works as it should, right? We're really not bothered by these small issues here and there for now, but for regression in next class, yeah, we will be. So any questions, guys?
Yeah, do you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I have two short questions. First, how developers notify testers that they done with a feature? And the second one, how do I get a new build? So should I refresh just I don't know, page, or how it
Yeah,
works?
so for web application, it's simple. So we only have this link in the browser. And I believe I saw that somewhere. Hold on, give me a second. Where it was. So usually they have this, no, I don't see it anywhere here. But usually they have, so two options here. Sometimes there is, at the bottom, you see like this Quidos LLC 2020. Sometimes there is an application version mentioned here, let's say 2.34 or something like that. And once developers update and push new changes, the URL is going to stay the same. It's always the same, but the number here will increment to, let's say, 235. So you will notice that, but kind of you won't, right? Because someone needs to tell you. Otherwise, it's hard for you to know. Sometimes you will actually see that application looks a little bit differently than it was like an hour ago or so. But that's why we need Jira. So it's going to be our last, no, it's going to be fifth class. So I'm going to show you the actual story. So that's why we need Jira. So this request is going to be created in Jira. And I will show you exactly how it looks like, so we can actually test against requirements, and we will see like how the process really, how developer will notify you, but it's all in Jira. Hope it makes
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little bit of sense, but yeah, we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, it makes sense. And yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, guys?
So I go to test environment, and it is the applications, and you build deployed there automatically, right? Like
Yeah,
I shouldn't do anything.
So developers, yeah, once they finish up their work, they will do the deployment. So you don't do anything really. So they will do it for you. And all that you need to do, just go to this application, the same thing. You open either incognito window like this, so it's all brand new browser, everything is cleared, or as someone mentioned that you can do like a control. So if you open, for example, this one again, now on the refresh button, you see here, if you right click, you see there is a hard reload and there is an empty cache and hard reload. So you can just use your regular browser, but just make sure you do like the last option. It's called hard reset, right? So now you will, for sure, you will get the newer version, so all the cache will be cleared. Make sense?
Yes. May I ask one more question?
Sure.
I've heard about QA environment and staging environment. So could you tell a little bit about these two? What is the difference?
Yeah, those are advanced techniques, but we don't have staging for this particular application. There is only two environments available. One is this test environments with this URL, which is always ahead of the production. So the version, which one is, so if you navigate to production environment, which is this one, you may notice some differences actually. So first of all, banners are different, right? So there is like a message on top of the page here, but if you start clicking, I believe, don't remember exact story, but I believe they actually changed create an account recently. So that one may have some, can behave differently actually. And you can notice the differences if you just compare these two. But it's a kind of startup environment, so they don't have that many environments. But sometimes there is dev environment for developers. So before you actually get something to test, developers will play around with their version in their own environment. It's going to be something like, so if it's like test QDOS, it's usually something like dev QDOS TK, something like that. We don't have that one. But in companies, sometimes developers have their own environment and sometimes even a couple of different ones. And once they play around, because they do some testing, a little bit of testing they do. And once they say like we finished, they will push it to your test environment. And then once you test it in a test environment, it's usually kind of the extensive testing. That feature will go to stage now, and it will sit there for a while, and they will be adding new features to stage. And at certain point, they will say like, okay, enough. So we pushed like this new, let's say 12 new features. So we're gonna release that. And that the moment the release, it's the action of like pushing what's in the stage, all those new features to production so real customers can start using them. Hope it makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and for regression, again, because we never touched regression, usually stage environment is used for regression, but again, not today. Later on, we'll get there. All right, so what else?
About Jira, like it looks like somebody is checking our like our box and test cases. Do we have to respond to those emails?
What do you mean? So someone
Like
changes your emails, or someone changes something?
No, like in Jira, after I submitted bug reports, I get emails like bug report is accepted, or and somebody and they are telling me what is wrong with the bug, how it has to be like in better way, how to do it like better. So do I have to respond to them, or like I just
no, you don't have to.
just ignore those emails?
Yeah, you can just ignore them, or you can take some notes and maybe improve.
I understand, yeah, but just
right.
Okay.
But in general, yeah, we don't have these strict rules as a part of this course. Yeah.
Okay.
You can actually see the changes because it's a tracking software. So for example, if I go to backlog here, where all the list of everything, right? So you can see that there is let's say this one, right? Okay, and there is a comment.
Yeah, this lady.
Right, from Alsu. Yeah, she's checking homework. So you can actually see that. Where is that? Hold on, let me open that in a new tab. You can see if you go here, and you scroll down here to this activity, and you can go to history. You can actually see all the changes and everything. You see, you created this issue 3 days ago. Then you made some changes, and in particular, fields got changed. So 2 attachments got added, and then also made some changes and changed labels here as well. Now, this one, you see, she added this one. That's what she did. So it's kind of nice. And comments. So all the history of every single ticket, because it can go like back and forth, updated, something can get deleted or messed up sometimes. You can still go here and see like what happened, and hopefully will not blame anyone, but you can definitely see like all the history, which is nice. So it's like a proof, right?
Yeah, it's actually very useful to get the feedback, and then you just, know nice. What is wrong, what is correct. So it's really cool.
So QA basic, will we go through this again? For basic, on the basic course, we teach how to be QA engineers, which is the next level. And then we go into more depth. In Jira, we show like how to use JQL. We show how to search for duplicates. I believe someone asked that question previously. That can be tricky, and again, it just takes some practice. Yeah, this is just to give you a taste of what it is. You can see, hopefully you feel that it's not that complicated. Just a little bit of practice for sure. But yeah, on QA, on basic QA course, yeah, there's much more, because this one is only 2 weeks and these are basics, but QA engineer or basic QA course, it's 12 weeks long, and we cover much more, and plus some technical stuff as well. So that one is harder, like much harder. Any other questions, guys? No questions? All right, so hopefully, yeah, you guys understand the homework, and then we will see you on Saturday. Thank you, guys, and have a good night.